I didn't grow up with money. We weren't rich by any means, but I knew I wasn't going to college. I knew that wasn't a reality, and I didn't really want to go to college. One of the things that I was very lucky in my life with is I knew exactly what I wanted to do. From the time I was a young age, I knew I wanted to be in the fight business, and people thought I was crazy. Because when you look at at the time when I grew up, I just turned 49 years old. When I was growing up, you had Don King, Bob Arum. These guys were the big promoters in the fight game, and everybody was set in their ways. They didn't think that the fight business could change.
Yeah.
And I believed it could. I had a lot of ideas, and I believed I could change the business. And I worked in Boston at a place called the Boston Harbor Hotel. I was a bellman in there. I was 19 years old. I made good money. There's some guys that get those jobs, and those are the type of jobs they're lifers. They want those jobs forever. And it's a good job. It's not a bad job.
Yeah.
It just wasn't for me. And I was literally standing in the lobby one day, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? What am I doing here? This isn't me. This isn't what I want. And I walked out the front door, and one of my good friends, he's still one of my good friends today, who was the doorman, says, what are you doing? I said, I'm quitting. And he's like, what? What are you going to do? I said, I want to be in the fight business. He said, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, I always knew what I wanted to do. And every day when I woke up, I would work toward that goal. I'll tell you guys a story. This is completely not a setup at all, I swear to God. And this is the first time I'm talking to him about this, but I didn't even have a car. I had a mountain bike that I rode everywhere in town with, and I had a Walkman. For those young kids, you don't know what a Walkman is, but I had a Walkman, and I used to listen to Awaken the Giant Within, and I swear to God, and Personal Power. I listened to both of those tapes.
Awesome,
swear to God, I was, and I actually used to buy them for people for gifts.
Really?
I used to give them away as gifts to people,
wow.
And everything that was in there is absolutely true, makes sense, and applies to everybody's life. It really does. This is not a setup, I swear to God. This is the truth, and he and I have never talked about this, but yes.
Oh, that really touches my heart.
It's a fact.
I'm thrilled to hear that was there at that time for you.
Yeah, so there was a kid in Boston. His name was Peter Welsh, and he's actually like a street fighting and boxing legend in town, and everybody had heard of him, and I literally sought this guy out. I went to him, and I said, I know this is crazy, you don't know me, but I want to work with you. You don't have to pay me. I want to learn everything that you can teach about the fight game. And I worked under this guy for like 3 years.
Wow.
And I did everything from boxing to corner work. I was a referee in fights. I managed guys, everything you could possibly do in the fight business. I've done everything except score a fight. I've never been a judge.
Wow.
Everything I learned from that guy, I consider, how in martial arts you have a sensei? This guy was my sensei. Cool. In the fight game, yeah. And he took me under his wing, and nothing bad with having a guy that works for you that you don't have to pay either. That doesn't suck. So, I worked hard for this guy. I learned everything, and then I eventually moved out to Vegas. So all the Boston guys will remember Whitey Bulger and other people too.
Yes, of course.
So Whitey Bulger had a guy who worked under him, and his name was Kevin Weeks. And I was actually teaching a boxing class at the club in town, and these guys walked right in the middle of my class, and they're like, "Hey, we need to talk to you." And I said, "I'm teaching a class here," and they're like, "We need to talk to you outside." So I said, what if this guy owns the club or something? I don't know who he was. So we walk outside, and he's like, yeah, you owe me money. I said, I don't even know you. How do I owe you money? He goes, you don't know me? And once he started talking like that, I was like, oh, no, this is not good. So, yeah, they wanted $2,500 from me. I was doing business in town, and I didn't have it. I told him I don't have the money. He goes, well, you better come up with it.
By when?
Yeah. So...
Did he give you a few days? Or
no, I didn't. Months went by.
Oh, wow.
Months went by. And one day I got a call at my apartment. And it was somebody on the phone said, you owe us that money and you owe it to us tomorrow. And it was a Saturday. And they're saying I owed it to him on Sunday. I said, I don't have it. And they said, well, you better come up with it. And I said, or what? He said, or you're going to find out. I literally hung up the phone picked it back up and called Delta and got a one-way ticket to Vegas. I left my couch, my stereo, my TV, I left everything. I left everything there. I flew out here, and like a couple months later is when all that stuff happened. They started digging up the bodies at the beach. He fled, and the whole thing came crumbling down like months later. A buddy of mine, Lorenzo Fertitta, we went to school together, and when I came back to Vegas, a mutual friend had a wedding, and we both went to the wedding. We bumped into each other, and he had just got on the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and he heard that I was doing boxing out here, and he said, I want to hook up and start training. So we got together on that Monday, which was in 1995, and we've been together ever since. The owner of the UFC at the time was a guy named Bob Meyerowitz out of New York, and I managed Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz.
Yeah, I know Chuck, yeah.
We got into a huge battle over Tito Ortiz's contract, and through that, one day on the phone, it just all erupted, and he said, you know what, there is no more money. It's all over. This thing's in trouble. I don't even know if I have enough money to put on one more show.
Wow.
And I said, interesting. Okay. So we hung up. I called Frank and Lorenzo. They were, and who had become my partners, and they were in Florida at the time. They owned Station Casinos here in Las Vegas, local casino. And I said, the UFC's in trouble, and I think we should buy it. I think we could buy this thing. We started making some calls. A month later, we bought the UFC for $2 million.
$2 million. And sold it for?
$4.025 billion. So we bought it for $2 million. You hear $4 billion, that sounds great, but the burn of almost $40 million was not fun, and it was painful, and you know.
What did Lorenzo and Frank say about that? Was there a point when they were at a breaking point?
Yeah. Lorenzo called me one day and said, I can't keep doing this, man. I can't keep burning all this cash, and I need you to get out there and find out what you could sell this thing for. So that day I made a bunch of calls. That night I call him when he's on his way home, and I said, you know what? Maybe $6-7 million bucks. We're in almost 40. I think I could get 6 or 7 million. And he said, okay, I'll call you tomorrow. He called me the next day.
What were you thinking that night?
Oh shit, the first thing you think is, man, I just blew $40 million of my friend's money.
Yeah.
That's the first thing you think, right?
Yeah.
And that's not fun. Then the fact that you've put all this time and energy into it, and it just doesn't work. It didn't work the way that you thought it would.
Yeah.
Then he called me back the next day and said, fuck it. Let's keep going. First of all, when you have a business idea, there's always going to be detractors and people that think, it won't work. You're always going to have those people around you and in your life, even when you're successful, believe me. It gets worse when you're successful. Then, you have to get to a point where you don't doubt yourself. You're so into this thing and you know that it's going to work. Timing is everything in life. Timing is everything. And we ran toward regulation. When you're never gonna beat the government. Okay, let me tell you this: when you get involved in your business and your business starts to grow and everything else, and the things that come at you, the government came after us and called us a monopoly. We took this business from zero to where it was. We create zillions of dollars in taxes, all these different, all the people that we employ all over the world, that when we go into the economic impact we have on cities, when we go into their cities, all this stuff, we're a monopoly now. We're being looked at as monopoly. So we're spending $7-8 million a year trying to defend ourselves from the government as a monopoly.
Wow.
These type of things happening, and I could go on forever. You go in, you do the right thing, and you pay your money, and you just take your lumps when you own a business. You don't try to fight these guys. You just roll with the punches, and you do what you're supposed to do. So we went in and we met with California, Nevada, New York, New Jersey, and the list goes on and on. Everywhere that had a real strong,
regulation.
Yeah. Everybody that had strong regulation. We went in and met with.
Yeah.
We educated them on the sport, and we started to open up and getting this regulated in all the different cities. And then we started to go to other parts of the world and get it regulated, and the list goes on and on. Then I had to fly from state to state and meet with all the reporters. You start meeting with the, from the New York Times to the local sports reporters who cover sports every night in your hometowns. I literally flew around the whole country doing this for years.
Yeah.
And nothing happens overnight. It's all it's
an
all
accumulation
hard work,
of all
man.
that you've done.
Yeah,
Man.
you just have to keep grinding every day. Every day you get up, and it's for us to make this happen with the UFC, it was really all about education.
Yeah.
And I always knew two things: if I brought these athletes in and you met them, you would realize the type of people that they are, and they're not what you expected them to be.
Right.
And if I ever got you to a live event, nobody walks out of a live event and goes, yeah, I don't ever want to see one of these again.
That's true.
So
the energy's unbelievable.
I knew if I could get you at least to get, whether you were a sponsor, a TV network executive, or whatever it was, if I could get you to the live event, I got you. When you talk about manifesting your own destiny and talking about, that is Ronda Rousey. That is Conor McGregor.
Yes.
That is any of these successful people that you meet. That's who they are, and that's exactly what they do. It's a fact. She sat there and laid out and told me exactly how her career was going to go. Conor McGregor laid out and told me exactly how his career was going to go. These type of people, it's real. It's absolutely real, and I've seen it many, many times in my life. I love when people doubt us. I love when people say no. Even when we just sold the company. When we sold the company, it's been 2 years now, right? We sold the company, and then everybody, it's always surrounded by anything you do positive in your life, and anything that's huge, it will immediately be surrounded by negativity, right? Immediately, get ready for it, because no matter how successful you become, one thing never goes away: negativity, haters, whatever you want to call them. It's always there, and you have to read it every day.
How do you keep that from affecting you?
I separate myself from it. And back in the old days when we started, I used to read it to the point where I was just nauseous,
Yeah.
I do not read any of that stuff, because one of the things that I have learned over my many years of doing this, their opinion doesn't matter. Their opinion means nothing.
Give it up there.
It is literally an opinion. It's negative bullshit, and it means nothing to you. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't affect, unless you're the sick, twisted type of person like me that likes to let it fuel you. You let it. It's like your fuel, and other than that, it's useless. It means nothing. Everything that the reporters write, everything that these people say, just do your thing. Stay on your course. Stay focused. And keep your eye on the prize, and everything comes together. But I love that stuff. So now I just tune it out. I do my thing. When we first bought the company, when Ari bought the company, and he overpaid for it. These guys are in big trouble now. Now they have so much debt hanging over their head. They're this, they're that. Their TV deal is up with Fox. All this stuff's going back and forth. So, and a lot of these things are true. Our TV deal is up with Fox. We do have a lot of debt, but these are all things we knew going into it. And then everybody keeps asking me, why did you stay? When you make that kind of money, there's always this thing about, fuck you money. Everybody knows that term. Oh man, I'm gonna tell the boss to kiss my ass if I ever get that lottery, or I hit this or hit that.
Problem is, you're the boss.
But you're in the wrong job. If you're looking for fuck you money, you're in the wrong place already. You already know you're not in the right place, okay? Because there's no such thing. I just made more money than I ever dreamed I would make. I don't want to leave. What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Listen, I've been on trips and stuff. I can't stand 3-day weekends. I hate 3-day weekends, man. I'm like, man, I want Monday to come again. That's how much I love what I do, right? So that should be, if that's not your mentality every weekend when you're at home, like you're dreading Monday, man, stop. Stop and get another job, because you're in the wrong place. That's not healthy for you. So I keep veering off here and going all over the place.
No, you're perfect.
So
stay where you are.
So I made all this money, but Ari gave me my ownership to stay, so I stayed, and now we just did a deal with ESPN for $1.5 billion.
5 years.
For 5 years, Now the company's worth $7 billion. First of all, when you're in that position, we didn't need any money. And everybody's telling me, oh my God, you made, $360 million, you made this, you made that. I already had money. I had money. I had bought a lot of stuff that I had always wanted. How many people grew up broke? Okay? When you grow up broke and you make money, you buy the dumbest shit ever, man. You go out and buy all the dumb shit that you ever wanted to buy.
It's true.
And then it just gets boring. You get bored with, I know when you hear somebody say that, you're like, oh, I won't get bored. You'll get bored. You just get bored of buying stuff and you already have everything. And at the end of the day, it's really about that you love what you're doing, and it's about the journey. The people you're doing with it, that you're having fun, you're getting up every day and you're all working toward the same goal, whatever it might be. It's a very fulfilling feeling. It really is a very fulfilling feeling, because I've been where most people have been. I've been in the shitty job that you're just trying to pay your bills and you're trying to make ends meet, and you're miserable. You're doing it because you have to do it, because you have to pay your bills, because you need money. Once you break out of that and you find what it is you truly love to do, it's really not work. It's actually fun, and you enjoy every day of your life. And there were days, I went through this thing. I had really bad insomnia for a long time, and I knew a lot of people that would freak out and go crazy. I loved it. I loved having insomnia. My life was so good, I didn't want to sleep.
I'm with you, brother.
Forget sleeping, man. Sleeping sucks. I wanted to be up every day doing what I did. And I embraced insomnia. I loved it. I loved insomnia. I slept for 2-3 hours a night and I had a blast. But when you get to that point in your life, fuck sleeping, man. No way. I want to stay up. Yeah, because I think that, I talk about us as human beings, how we're made up, and we love fighting, but every one of us is a fighter. Every day you get out of bed, when you get out of bed every morning, right, you get up out of bed, life is standing right there to kick you in the face. Ready, leg cocked, ready to go, to kick you in the face, because every day when you get up, bad shit's coming at you, right? Forget about work, your personal life, everything. Car don't start, to this, to that. Life is ready to get you, and you got to get up and you got to fight through that bullshit every day. You have to, If you don't, you can't roll over. Can't roll over, man. You got to fight through all the shit that life throws at you. Then you get to a point where life's throwing a bunch of shit at you. Now work's throwing a bunch of shit at you. Your business that you have to fight for every day, and you have to get up and you have to have that to get up and fight every day, man. And once you get into it and you start fighting, it becomes addictive. You actually like it.
Yeah.
I'm so sick and twisted that if there's no chaos in my life, I create chaos now. It's like, yeah, it's very, yeah. I love it. I love competition. I love things I love adversity. I love when adversity comes at us. I love solving problems. I love,
Yes.
In personal and professional life. I really do like. When we bought this company, ESPN would not cover us, wouldn't talk to us, wouldn't meet with us. January 1st, we're on ESPN with one of the biggest deals they've ever cut in combat sports history. So it took 18 years. When we first started this thing, you're talking 2001, right? And you have all these older guys that are in these powerful positions, okay? All these older guys are in these, and they're set in their ways. They don't want anything new. They're not looking to rock the boat. I'm not messing with this stuff. I don't get it, I don't like it, and I'm never gonna like it.
Yeah.
Now, if you can figure out how to grind and keep growing and everything else, we finally got on TV on a small little network called Spike that had just started at the time. And what happens is younger people start to see it, right?
And then they start to take over.
Exactly. It starts to build, and then those younger people that grew up watching that are now in these powerful positions, whether it's in the media, whether it's in television networks, sponsorship, or whatever else might be. It's like, it's the UFC. I grew up watching that, Not as scary as it was to the older generation that was on their way out when we started. When you think about it, we haven't even scratched the surface of how big this thing can be. We're still going into countries. September 5th, we're in Russia. Korea's building this huge arena. We're going into Korea. I have a guy right now from China who is really good and looks like this guy could be a world champion.
Wow. Yeah.
So Conor McGregor, I go over to Ireland, and I like to go in all the pubs and all that stuff, and we had a pretty good fan base there at that time. And people kept talking to me about Conor McGregor, you got to sign Conor McGregor. So I come back, and I talk to my matchmakers. I'm like, who the hell is this Conor McGregor kid? And I'm like, he's a kid. He fights over there in the local shows, whatever. I bring him out to Las Vegas, and I go to dinner with him, right? And I hadn't seen him fight, nothing. I just wanted to meet him.
Oh, interesting.
So we go to dinner, and I leave this dinner. I call my partner, Lorenzo. I said, holy shit. Now, I don't know if this kid can fight, but if he can even throw a punch, he's going to be the biggest star anybody's ever seen. I can tell you that right now.
He's like the new version of Ali.
I knew the night that I met that kid, and he ended up being the real deal.
What was it, the qualities that you saw in him then that we all see? But
he just has this unbelievable personality, his laugh, his sense of humor, his everything.
Certainty.
He has that it factor, that thing that you can't teach anybody. He just had it.
Yeah.
He had it in truckloads.
Yeah. How do you manage?
You have to be a leader. Yeah. You have to be a leader, and you have to get people to believe as you believe and to want the dream as bad as you want the dream. And you have to, it's great to have a bunch of people in your place working, but you want enthusiastic people that love what they're doing as much as, those are the type of people you want. And that's the type of shop we've run since the day we opened. And you have to, it's great to have a bunch of people in your place working, but you want enthusiastic people that love what they're doing as much as, those are the type of people you want. And that's the type of shop we've run since the day we opened.
What makes somebody a great leader?
Well, I think part of it is setting by example. I think that they have to see that you're out there willing, don't just come up here and tell us a bunch of bullshit, and they have to believe that you truly believe, and that's truly you're as in love and as passionate about what you're talking about.
And you'll do whatever it takes.
Exactly. Yeah. And you go out and if you hire right, you're hiring the same type of people as you. So you have to be able to talk to people. You have to be able to motivate people. You have to be able to get people to believe as you believe in what they're doing, to love it as much as you do.
Yeah.
In my experience, that's what it takes. It's worked for me. When you continually give a good product, people are going to cut you some slack when there are a couple of bad ones. They know that, listen, every Super Bowl you've ever watched isn't the best football game you've ever seen. It's like you can't guarantee that that's always going to be the best, but you try hard. Earlier, I like authenticity. I don't need everybody to, listen, if you show up and you're Conor McGregor, you can fight and you can talk, you're really funny and all that stuff, home run. Incredible. I love it. I'll take it all day. But I want you to be you. I don't ever want you to act like somebody else, because it's not genuine. It's not authentic. Crazy. I think that from what I've learned, and as I look back on my life, everything in life is about timing.
Yes.
Really is about timing, the right time, the right place, the right everything. And I also believe that you create your own timing in life too.
You're really lucky when you work your ass off. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's the thing is, everybody, what's the worst thing that can happen if you try? If the day that I walked out of that hotel, right, and I went to do this, it doesn't work out, I can go back and be a bellman again whenever I want to. You can always go back and do that. The worst part is not trying. Yeah. You have to try. Nobody's ever going to do anything without trying.
That's right. Last question.
Guess what? It's never the right time. It's never the right time. It's like, I can't now. I got this truck I just bought. I got payments on this friggin' thing. I got this. If you do that to yourself, you'll never do anything. Forget the truck. Forget this. Forget that. Go for it. Just go for it. Believe me, I'm living proof that it can happen.